Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's another episode here on Live Signatures Radio. Yesterday we started a short series. It's gonna be short, crisp and sweet. We're talking about how to slap yourself, SLAP, how to slap yourself out of a mess. And this was inspired by the slap that Chris Rock received mightily from Will Smith some years back during the Oscars. Chris Rock was moderating, and then he cracked a joke against Will Smith at the expense of his wife, and I didn't understand the joke myself, but it didn't go well. And Will Smith stood up, walked to the podium, slapped the guy, and then went back and sat and started shouting at the guy, "Don't blankety 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 blank my wife, blankety blankety," whatever it is. So there are different types of people. There are those ones who said Chris Rock did the right thing. Then there are those ones who said Will Smith did the wrong thing. I want to dissect that today, even as we start going deeper into how to slap ourselves out of a mess. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
So, a recap. Yesterday we looked at two groups of people. There are those ones who said that Will Smith did the wrong thing, and then there was those ones who say that Chris Rock did the right thing, because when he received the slap, he was so calm. He did not slap back. It's like what Jesus said, when someone slaps you, turn the other cheek. Okay, Chris Rock did not turn the other cheek. He just said, "Wow, wow." He did not fight back and so on. But people are saying that that is very, very, very mature. Now, when you say that and you're bashing Will Smith and you exalt Chris Rock, I think it is, in my opinion, laughable. I'm not a comedian, so I do not think that cracking jokes at the expense of someone else is prowess in comedy. Probably it is, but just I don't think it's funny for me to come and crack a joke that demeans you, makes you feel bad about yourself, so that other people can have fun and other people can laugh. Cracking joke at the expense of people, I don't think it's good. I think it's cheap. I always ask, if we remove those kinds of jokes from our body of work in comedy, would we still laugh? Will people still laugh? The answer is, as many comedians out there that are doing a wonderful, wholesome and clean art. And one of them, by the way, is Steve Harvey. The man is good at his craft. There's a time he talked about the eye, I think the eye of Mike Tyson or something like that. A very clean laugh, very creative. But what's my point anyway? You cannot blame Will Smith and at the same time keep quiet about the provocateur who was Chris Rock. If you want to blame something, be objective. Be balanced. cover both ends. You cannot blame Will Smith and at the same time keep quiet about Chris Rock. The good thing is that both artists actually did apologize publicly one to another, and we are probably going to sweep this under the bridge. By the time you're listening to this, probably it's even swept under the bridge. The question then is this. What can we learn from this unfortunate debacle? What can we learn from this mess that Chris Rock and Will Smith found themselves in? Many people will say it's Will Smith that was in the mess. Okay, fine. What can we learn from that? Well, there are more than 4 things that we can draw from, and I'll just focus on 4. And today I'm going to focus on 1. Maybe today and tomorrow, let's see how it goes. But today I'm going to focus on just one thing. The lesson we need to learn, which I already shared, made an inference to it yesterday, is that sliding is inevitable. Listen, to err is human. We are all subject to failure. Will Smith said that his mentor was Denzel Washington. And when Denzel Washington told him to be very careful at the peak moments, because it is at that time that the devil attacks. Well, the fact is that whether the moment is prominent or not, we are all still prone to mess, and we can mess up royally. Sometimes we shock ourselves. I have shocked myself. I looked back and said, Lawrence, what were you thinking? Was that even you in there? That was extreme, man. How did you end up there? To err is human. We are all prone to mess up right, and some of us have incredible messes that if they were shown on the screen, some of you who are bashing Will Smith, if your mess was projected on live television, the world will be shocked. But then again, the world will not, because we are human, and some of them have even messed worse than you have. Here are some thoughts about failure, though, that we need to take into consideration. Number 1, without attempting, you cannot fail. Well, where is this coming from? That we are all prone to messing up, intentionally going up and messing up. But sometimes the messes that we find ourselves are not because we did nothing. They are because we were trying to do something. So as you do life, you might be prone to fail. Failure comes from an attempt. Secondly, without failing, you cannot improve. You cannot have a contrite spirit, a broken heart. That's what I told you about me yesterday. Now, when I was a young Christian, the brokenness, the broken spirit wasn't there because I hadn't sinned yet. At least after getting born again, I hadn't sinned royally yet. So I was cocky and haughty and self-righteous and and then a mess comes in. You cannot improve without the failure. David said, a broken spirit and a contrite heart God is not going to despise. But David was saying this after he murdered someone, after sleeping with that someone's wife. You cannot have a contrite heart, a broken spirit. Will Smith cannot improve before he slapped. Now that he slapped Chris Rock, he can make amends in that particular area. Same with you. You cannot know the extent of your mess as a human being until you do mess. And now that you have messed, you are in a pole position to have a contrite heart, a broken spirit, and to improve on that particular area. Without failing, you cannot know what you are made up of. What is your makeup in terms of extremes? Failure is a great friend of progress than no attempt and success itself, by the way. If Will Smith had not worked, he probably would not be at that event. The feedback from failure is much more potent than any theory out there. When you are in the middle of your failure, in the middle of your mess, you're caught with your hand in the cookie jar. The biggest beneficiary in this is you who has been caught. In this case, it was Will Smith. Will Smith, not the bloggers and the theorists out there. He was the one in the eye of the storm, so to speak, at the moment, and he knows the extent of his messes. He knows the extent of his embarrassment and whatsoever else that accompanied his actions. He knows. He was there. He felt it. He is therefore blessed to implement a change, not the rest of the theorists. So one thing that you need to learn, one thing that I'm going to leave with you today: a mess is inevitable. Sliding is inevitable. So the first S, the first letter, because we're talking about how to slap yourself out of a mess, the first letter is sliding is inevitable. Realize it is not an uncommon thing, a strange thing. It's not a strange thing that is happening to you when you mess up. You are human. But realize that that mess has exposed you to who you really are, and it's given you an opportunity to chisel up yourself, to spruce yourself up, to improve in that particular area, and also to look out in the future so that you can get yourself in that particular boundary. Don't push that boundary. Spruce yourself up, and in the process, guess what? You become a gracious human being to others who might find themselves in the same mess as yourself. Tomorrow, we will talk about the second thing, the second lesson that we can learn from Will Smith and the way he slapped Chris Rock, in the topic, how to slap yourself out of a mess. Until then, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.